Drew Alba here with manager of the Walla Walla Sweets, Colby WAtilo, for another edition of Countdown with Colby, here back at home. And Colby, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Billy, I asked Troy, I asked Colby. Did you think that was gone last night off the bat?
Oh, never a doubt. Come on, Drew, never a doubt.
Of course.
It was enough to get the heart rate going a little bit. Portland is just a notorious tough place to win, and so there's plenty of stories where, I think the Pitchers come into the ninth inning in a similar situation, and they're able to come back and take the win. So, it's always in the back of your mind just the difficulty it is to get wins there. And I was happy to see it fall short. I was happy to see Billy stop running on the warning track and make that grab, and get out of there with a nice salvage on the game 3.
4-hour bus ride back here. How long would the bus ride have felt if that ball did go over the fences? Probably twice that.
Yeah, twice. Make it 8 hours and call it good. But it was, of course, you still lose the series, but it's good to, hand the Pitbulls their first loss. We did out of there with a win, and first team to knock them off in 12 games. So that's a good sign, I think, for things to come this season.
You go into every game with obviously wanting to win that game, but 1 of 3 in Portland. I know obviously you're wanting more, but that's not bad at all. You'll leave 1 of 3, and now there's some momentum riding back home. Cowlitz struggling on the other side. Ideally 2 of 3, maybe even a potential sweep. But how do you get game number 1 here?
Yeah, I think we flip our focus, right? It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. What happened last night happened last night, and we had the long bus ride. We had some guys trying to catch up on some rest today, and so now we come out. It's a new day, fresh start. Against an opponent who's maybe struggled a little bit out of the gates, but it's the West Coast League, and every team is strong. Every team has great players, and so I think it's coming in knowing that, hey, it's a new night. We need to turn our focus to what we can control this evening and go out there, set the tone for a nice long homestand. Trying to call Borleski home and avoid the hotels and the bus rides for at least a week. So that'll be good.
Undefeated at Borleski so far still.
Hey,
3-0, mate.
Come on, Drew.
Who knows?
You haven't learned, bro.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, I did mention they didn't make an error, and I'm pretty sure the next night at Yakima
was Springfield.
Oh, Springfield, yes. Wasn't the best showing, but, we've stopped away from that. Maybe, I'll cut that out of the video. Who knows? Anyways, where was I? Yes, okay, you look on the mound. Trey's up there. He started, I think, game 1 against Ridgefield last week. A pretty up and down start. What do you expect out of him?
I think he's continuing to get better. I think he's continuing to learn, right? Yeah, exactly. Young guy coming out of high school, headed into, hasn't thrown a college inning, right, on campus at a college. And so I think there's some learning curve, I think, that's taking place, which is the fun part about summer baseball. It's the fun part about being a pitching coach and getting to work with these guys is some of the stuff that he had so much success in high school doing is, you can get away with it to an extent, but once the scouting report gets out, teams start to kind of figure it out a little quicker than they maybe did at the high school level. So for him, I think a big part of it is being able to still utilize his strong fastball. It's got great velo, it's got good ride to it, but I think a separator for him is the ability to throw off-speed pitches for strikes and mix those in throughout counts to help keep hitters off balance. I think Ridgefield did a good job against him of getting on time for the fastball. It was the first club that he's faced that was actually able to get the barrel to the fastball, and they hit him around a little bit. And so we talked about it during the outing against Ridgefield, and he made a small adjustment in that start. But now I think from the get-go is, hey, can you mix? Can you keep hitters a little bit more off balance so they can't just guess what pitches come in as frequent as Ridgefield did?
Some of that experience still working. But, hey, Summer Bowl, that's what it's about, right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah, so, maybe this is wrong me, but, first 12 games in, I think your coaching style, pitching-wise, kind of letting guys go a little bit longer than maybe some other guys out there. The leash seems to be long, but at what point do you kind of draw it in and say we're going to change things up?
Yeah, I think a lot of stuff for us is health and arms, stamina, arm strength dependent. We're making conscious decisions, trying to make sure that we're not overusing guys. The beauty of summer baseball and just the nature of how the schedule runs its course as well is we're adding more and more pitchers, right? Even up till today, adding a few new arms in the bullpen that can come in and take a little bit of the workload off some of the guys that we've become familiar seeing out there so often here early.
Sure.
So that's a part of it. I think the other thing too is I think part of the development part is learning to pitch through some of those struggles, right? Like you get a little shaky, and we have an excellent defense behind guys, no matter what combination we run out there. And so it's like, hey, can we aim a little bit more on the plate? Can we challenge hitters to force them to hit the baseball and know that if the ball's put in play, we're going to make the play 9 times out of 10. And so kind of giving that reassurance to get back in there with confidence, go throw it with good conviction, and go right at the hitters.
I think especially the last 10, maybe 15 years, in the MLB, but also towards college ball now. It's a lot of looking at lefty-lefty matchups, lefty-righty, etc. Maybe third time around the lineup, you switch it up. How much does that kind of go into your philosophy of switching guys on the mound?
There's a little bit of that. You know, I think I'm starting to feel myself as we're getting into games, especially as we get to third time around for some of our starters. You know, the pitch count's starting to get up where they might only have an inning or two left. And if it's a situation where, hey, we're getting to the point where third time through the lineup, you know, the guys have seen them 3 times. They maybe only have one more inning left to go on their pitch count and where we want to use them. Why don't we just make the switch now, keep arms healthy, keep guys more fresh, and also make the offense adjust to a new look on the mound. And so we are making some of those in-game adjustments. I think our coaching staff as a whole has done an excellent job of managing the bullpen, of managing our personnel. And so I'm expecting that to continue as we go forward.
I think Figueroa is, a perfect example of that. You bring him in yesterday and kind of, obviously he's got that kind of funky arm slot. You bring him in, he goes 2 1/3 scoreless, and kind of bail your guys out of a few different bases loaded situations. Portland's 16 runners left on. Does that make you feel good, bad? Like what's the feeling of that?
It makes me feel great.
Right.
I think
denying opportunities.
Yeah, we're denying opportunities. We're giving up base hits, and some guys are getting on base. A walk or hit by pitch here and there. Not ideal, but when it comes down to it, our guys are making big pitches when it matters. Our guys are competing. They're not giving in. I don't think as a staff, really for the most part all year, we've really had a situation that we compound a bad inning because of stuff that we give. There's some times where maybe we're a hit or a walker hit by pitch and then a hit does some damage. But for the most part, we're not. It's not a merry-go-round. We're not walking guys around the bases, knock on wood, and so I think that's what we like to see. And I think there's a little bit too of. Even last night, we had a couple examples of trying to develop a relationship for the pitchers to also give us some insight as to where they're at, right?
Right,
Guy like Figueroa goes 2 1/3, and, hey, he's starting to feel a little bit tired, and we've got the guys in the bullpen to hand the ball over to someone else. Versus a guy like Trevor Stowe, we get to that 9th inning last night, and he wanted the ball in his hand. He wanted to go back out there with a chance to try to finish that thing. He poured it all out there. We got to the point that, hey, we need to make sure we get him off the mound before he gets too deep, and we hand the ball over to Colby Solomon, and who in 3 pitches gets us right out of that thing and ends that game. So,
yeah, balance between listening to your players, but also doing what's best for the team.
Yeah, a lot of trust in those guys, right? They know themselves the best, and there's something to be said about the guy that wants to go compete. He wants the ball in his hands. He wants to embrace the opportunity that he's given here in summer ball. And even going out there at one point last night in the mound visit, it was, hey, this is the situation that you dream of about being in, right? Late against an undefeated team with multiple runners on base with 2 outs. Can you make the big pitch to get out of it? It was with Stowe on the mound, and we did, right? We got a strikeout, I believe, to end the inning. And so just putting guys and giving them the freedom and the empowerment to say, like, hey, you're the guy. Like, let's go get these guys out. Let's go right at them and then, hand the ball over when it's ready.
You mentioned the Pickles undefeated coming into last night. Obviously, Cowlitz on the other side of the coin, but it's still early. What do you tell your guys to just treat every opponent like the same?
Yeah, I mean, the opponent's ourselves. Like, there's different team. There's another uniform on the other side of the field, but I think with the guys we have and what we're capable of, the opponent is ourselves. Can we take care of our own business? Can we play our game? Can we put pressure on a defense? Can we command the baseball and make the plays? And it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the field. That's a good recipe to win games. And so I think that's a big part of it too. Is like, let's control what we can control. Let's give our best effort and be the biggest competitor for the other side, and then let the chips fall where they may.
Well, you can't control a 4-hour bus ride. You get back 4:30 a.m. No BP to kind of give the guys a break, I assume. But still, that's tough. You come back, after 3 games. They were playing. There's no break day in between. Yeah. Obviously, you're not out there on the diamond, but, what do you tell the guys to kind of just stay ready when they get into the game? It's go time, no matter what.
I think the guys are doing a good job of that for themselves and doing that as a group, No BP on field. We hit in the cages today, but we show up, and I get to the park today, and we've already got guys getting early work in the batting cage, right? And there's a workmanship, there's a mentality that we're trying to instill in these guys that, hey, your name's in the lineup, your name's not in the lineup. We got in early.
Right back at it.
Yeah, you get right back out there. It's an opportunity for you to be in a great place with great facilities to try to get better one day at a time, to improve, to get ready for the fall. And our guys are embracing that. They're doing a great job. They're showing up for themselves. They're showing up for one another, and that's all you can really ask for as a coaching staff.
All right, last question, the Get to Know Colby question of the day. This was from Cody, our general manager.
Okay.
Kind of a little bit of a throwback. 100 men versus 1 gorilla. First off, who do you think wins that matchup? If you had to pick.
I'll take I'll take 100 men.
100 men beats one gorilla. Okay, how many Leo Rivera's, third base coach, how many would it take to beat one gorilla? Third base coach, obviously.
Probably one.
One, nice.
Leo's a competitor.
Okay,
yeah,
how many gorillas would take down Leo?
100.
There you go.
It's 100. It's gotta be.
There you go, 100. Okay, how about if you could only pick guys from your players from the dugout? How many of those guys? Maybe Owen Estabrook you throw out there. He's a big guy.
Yeah, he's physical. He's a good one.
Catchers, they're gritty.
Yeah, Backus has got some reach. He's a big dude. So we got some guys.
Yeah.
I think if you put them together, I think that's when we're really in business. Right?
Sure.
Then we might be able to start add a few more gorillas to the mix.
Do you think your starting 10 could beat a gorilla?
Of course.
There you go.
Of course.
That mindset, huh?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no doubt. Anyone, anytime, anywhere. Let's do it.
And the anyone today, Cowlitz Black Bears, first game here at Burlesque, undefeated at Burlesque Stadium. We'll see if that holds true. Countdown with Colby. Thanks so much, Colby.
Thanks, Drew. Go Sweets.